Hey y'all. Um, hey, for those of you already in here, if you can hear me and hear me well, let me move this away because I don't think it matters. The reason why I was late popping into the live, my apologies in advance, is because my computer is not reading my audio interface. And so I was trying to have the sound right, but I'm gonna try to do my sound check. If you guys can hear me and hear me well, please give me a thumbs up emoji so I know that the sound is doing what it needs to do. Please, before I get started, you know what I'm saying? Let me know that y'all can hear me, please. Okay, good. Thank you. I'm just gonna unplug this thing because it's not even working. That's so crazy. Um, y'all can hear me, right? I see the little thing on YouTube. I didn't want to come through just my computer speakers. I was trying to be fancy, but it's all good. But anyway, I'm gonna get right into it. I see the thumbs up emojis. My apologies for taking a long hiatus. I took a hiatus because sometimes being on live and going live is just not fun the way it used to be. Like I used to get on here and express my thoughts and, not really ramble, but just get off what I was thinking. And, I know sometimes people may have a differing opinion, which is perfectly fine. Like if you don't agree with what I'm saying or, you might want to challenge what I'm saying, that's perfectly fine. But to do it in a way that's respectful is something that like has to be present. Like it can't be no acting crazy and saying wild stuff and turning. I'm just picking up my water, don't mind me, because I gotta stay hydrated, you know what I'm saying? Turning everything into a gender war debate. And I got tired of it. And it's like, damn, I could be talking about um avocado seeds. And somehow the man be like, oh well, yeah, the woman, she's supposed to receive the seed, but the women ain't doing what they're supposed to do. And it's like, y'all scaring the hoes. Now I know I know that's a saying. I'm not calling ladies, we are not hoes, but that's the phrase, you feel me? But like y'all gotta stop doing that because it's like not a vibe. But anyway, so yes, I'm here on the live. What I want to talk about is this viral video that's been going around. I don't know if you guys have seen it. I could pull it up and play it on my phone, but I'd rather not. I don't want to give that silly man any more clout than he deserves, um, which is none for these kind of perspectives and talking points, right? Now, first, let me get this out the way because I feel like people, soon as I'm Black American, in case you guys didn't know. Um, my name is Erica LeShai, right? And a lot of people think that LeShai is my last name. I've seen people, when they were debating about whether or not I was Black American, like she is not Black American. Look at her hair, look at her nose, look at her dad. And it's like, I'm very much Black American. You know what I'm saying? I'm not mixed. I'm Black, but people always want to do those identity politics. They find any reason that they can to dislike people. So when people were saying that, there's like, what kind of last name is Lachey anyway? Nigga, I got the blackest last name a Black person can have. The second blackest. I think the first is Johnson, right? That's hella Black. Jones is also hella Black too. And then there's Jackson, which is the whole vibe with me. My name is Erica LeShai Jackson. You know what I'm saying? So let me just get this out the way. You feel me? I am Black American and I don't have no smoke with any people from like across the diaspora because I know every time that Black Americans bring this conversation up, it's always a like, oh, you're being xenophobic or you're trying to feed into diaspora wars or whatever. But we really have to get tighter with ours. I said this in 2020 that we have to be stingy, stingy with our culture, stingy with our love, stingy with our vote, stingy with all of it, right? I said this a little while ago that we need to be stingy, and folks didn't hear me then, and maybe they'll hear me now because things are getting out of control. So that video that went around, it was a bald African man and he was sitting with I guess she was supposed to be the Black American representation. She was a Haitian American, which is like, that's fine and dandy, no problem with the Haitian folks, Zoe, as you guys like to call yourselves, no problem with y'all. But that's not the same thing as being Black American. It's just not, you feel me? And there's no need to get offended about that true statement because I'm not just gonna sit up and be like I'm Nigerian and y'all be like, oh, okay. Like that's not the truth of the matter because I'm not, you feel me? However, the video is ridiculous. He's talking about like Black Americans, they have no culture, right? They have no culture, they have no principles, they have no taboos. There's nothing that is culture. What is their culture? Hip hop, and he scoffs. Twerking, you know what I'm saying? And she's sitting there like, I don't think that's fair to say, but she doesn't really have an answer, right? Now, mind you, when I see videos like this floating around, I don't really think too much of them because I'd be like, two people talking on something they ain't got no business talking on. That's just how I feel about it. And I'm not going to entertain neither one of them because they both dumb. However, what made me upset is that a brother that I know is Black American, you feel me? Or I believe he Black American. Honestly, I should have got that tidbit of information. But we go kind of not way back, but I've been on him for a couple of years. But he DM'd it to me. Like he be sending me reels and stuff like that. And he sent it to me, right? And so I was like, all right, let me check this out because a lot of times I look at what people send me if like we're friends. If we follow each other, I'm like, all right, I'll check it out and see what you sent because you want me to see it for whatever reason. But the fact that he sent it to me and he agreed with it. And this is my issue. You feel me? This is my issue. Like can't be um we can't be agreeing with that kind of stuff. There's things within our culture, and I'm gonna say this specifically to the conscious community, to the so-called conscious woke community, whatever we want to call ourselves. There's a lot of things that we don't like about our culture, right? There's some things that we wish we could fix, or some parts that are not maybe not as polished and a little rough around the edges. But we can't negate the fact that that's our culture. You know what I'm saying? Because those aspects of our culture that we might consider to be less glamorous or whatever, it still makes up who we are as a people. We can't just throw them people away. White people that live in trailer parks or whatever, they still a part of white culture, whether the other white people like it or not. And that's one thing I noticed about the Latino community. I was working out at this gym. It's called Equinox. It's a nice little gym, and they have a few different locations all over the country or whatever. But um, it's a kind of an upscale gym, right? And so when I was in the locker room getting ready to take a shower, it was some Latino women that was in there that actually go to the gym. They paid that high membership amount to actually go to the gym. And then there's women in the gym, Latino women that were working there, cleaning up the locker room space. And you could tell just by their conversation, they're speaking Spanish, but I know a little bit of Spanish. They're speaking Spanish, but they're asking like, "Oh, how was your weekend?" And like everything was cool. There's no like class system. I won't say there's no class system because I don't know their culture well enough to say that. But the fact that like there could be a Latino person that's an Uber driver and a Latino person that's you know has like I guess like a corporate job or whatever, and they're not looking at each other like you're beneath me. Now, black people, we don't like what white people do to us when they look at us and assume that we are violent or ghetto or uncultured or whatever the case may be. We don't like that, right? We don't like that. You shouldn't stereotype people. Stereotypes are wrong, blah blah blah, right? But then we do that to our own people. Specifically the conscious community. We are very very very, very, very good at looking at other black people and being like, oh no, they're not us. Da, 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 da. And it's like, yes, they are. You might not like it. I mean, they probably don't like you. The ones that you saying they're not like us. We don't claim those black people. They probably feel the same way, but like all of it is black culture you know? And let me get deeper into what culture is because a lot of times when we answer this question, because a lot of people will say we don't have culture, right? What are our principles? What are our values or whatever? We're very family oriented and we're very accepting by nature. That's two of our principles. We're so accepting, it's a detriment to us, honestly, how accepting we are in the prison systems. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times you have the white population, the Latino population, and the black population. If you're anything other than white or black or Latino, they're going to throw you in with the black people. Why? Because black people are naturally accepting. You're an Indian man, you go to jail, they're going to stick you with the black people. Because black people ain't going to do nothing to you, really. They're going to see you and be like, they're not going to really bother you. But you stick that same Indian with them white supremacists or them Latinos, he end up dead. But somehow we got the reputation of being just so terrible and so violent and all this other kind of stuff, right? So let me get back to the place. Someone said no, they are classified as others. You know, see, this is why like I'm not talking about how we classify them. I'm not saying that we accept them as black, but that's where they're going to put those people. They're classified as others, but they're going to put them with us because we are the most accepting people on God's green earth, which is a superpower of ours, but it's also a detriment of ours, which is why everyone is cutting up our culture and taking a slice of it, and we're being left with the crumbs. Okay. We're being left with the crumbs. All right. That's what I'm talking about. So before I go on, let me see what some of these comments are saying. Um, Someone said, "Is what African Haitians make them obsessed with white people, so there's no getting along with them if you're FBA." Now, I'm not saying that we can't get along with people, because there are some people that are like West Indian that I really rock with. There's people from all over the world that I've been to different places and I've met people and I'm cool with them. So I'm not saying that we can't get along, but we have to be, again, stingy with our culture and understand what it means to not let other people just come in and just say whatever. And we can't agree with it, because my issue with the video wasn't the fact that the video was made. People are going to talk and say whatever kind of nonsense they want to say for engagement's sake. You know what I'm saying? To rage bait people and to get they little raggedy perspectives viewed, because no one otherwise would care about what they had to say if they wasn't speaking on us. They're going to talk regardless, right? But what my issue is with us, Black people that are so-called a part of the woke or conscious collective, agreeing with this because we have issues within our own culture. We look at our own people the way white people and others look at us. The man who sent me that video, I assumed he thought I would agree with it because of the way that I talk, because of how I'm considered to be pro-black or whatever the case may be. He might have assumed that I would say, "Yeah, man, our twerking, da 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 da, it's so bad. Look at what our culture has become." But that's not the type of time that I'm on. That's never gonna be the type of time that I'm on. Because if it's twerking, if it's hip hop, if it's rap or whatever, it's still a part of our culture. You might not like certain aspects of it because what you've seen is what's been packaged to you in the worst possible way. And maybe you have some lived experiences, you feel me, that shows you certain things that you don't like. There's certain things that I don't like, but the same goes with all cultures. And when I talk to Black people, Black people that are Black Americans, when we talk, like the last time I had this conversation, it was about like the Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef, right? And they were talking about like people was mad because they was like, "Oh, Kendrick don't like mixed people." And it's like, it ain't got nothing to do with that. It's about understanding our culture, you feel me? And not like coming into the culture, sucking it dry, utilizing it, but not knowing or respecting anything about our culture, right? And so people were all upset and they were all in arms about that. And it was so many Black people that follow me in my comments talking about, "Well, what culture do we have? Gang banging, twerking, are those our culture?" Honestly, yeah, that's part of it. It might not be the shiny, bright, glistening parts, but it's definitely part of it. And the more we run away from all aspects of who we are, the more we're going to feel lost and aimless in this world, and the more people will be able to take advantage of the things that we discard. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm talking about, all aspects of it. But there are so many different things about us. We have the loyalty in regards to family. Black church culture is a thing. Black church is different than any other type of church or whatever that people got. A lot of us so-called conscious people might not want to acknowledge that because it's like, "Oh, that's the slave master's religion." That's still part of our culture. What we've done with the Black church and how that operates in gospel music and all of that is something that no one else has done and no one else will be able to do. You know what I'm saying? Jazz, blues, country music, rock, all of that is our culture. And the more that we deny our culture and deny having cultures because we're so high and mighty and we think we better than the condition of our own people, the more others will be able to take advantage of us. That's what I'm saying. So to the conscious woke community or whatever, you feel me? Like this whole "I'm above the condition of my people" stuff got to stop. And that's why I was so mad when the brother sent me the video. I'm like, "You always on that type of time." You know what I'm saying? Thinking that you better than the lowest of us. The so-called lowest of us. Ain't nobody better than the whole condition of our people. We move as a unit, as one body. You feel me? If my finger is ashy, I'm not gonna be like, "Oh, I ridicule this finger. This is not a part of me. You know what? I'm just gonna chop it off because, Instead, you know what I could do? I can say, well, this is still a part of me, regardless, even if it is ashy, even if I gotta, it's looking a little raggedy. What I can go do instead of trying to separate myself from it is slap some lotion on there. Put some oils on it. Maybe put some extra attention and see what is some eczema or something. What's going on with this finger that where it's looking like this and the rest of the body is halfway decent? What's going on? Right? But that's be my whole problem with the woke community. That's why, like a couple of years ago, when I deleted my Twitter because it was a bunch of them niggas following me, I was like, I have absolved myself from the conscious community. I want no parts because, like, the type of time that we're on is kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy the way that we look at our own people because there's reasons for the condition that we're in. And some of us who might have grown up in suburban areas or whatever, or we got a little bit of knowledge of self and now we feel like we're better than everybody. You know what I'm saying? There are other people that, they're not listening. The reason why they're not listening is that because people are intelligent, emotionally intelligent, a lot of them, and they could feel when your words to them is coming from a place of like ego and pompousness as opposed to a place of love. People can feel that, they can feel that, right? When you talk to them and you talk at them instead of with them, people can feel that. Check the source, check the motivation, check the reasoning behind why we doing things. Are we looking at each other the same way that white supremacist people look at us and then allowing them to rob and steal our culture away from us because we too silly to take ownership of who we are? That's all I'm saying. So with the video, he's saying Black Americans don't have culture. First, we got to get in-house. Right. We would be mad at everybody else, the UK people, the African Black people, and all this other kind of stuff. And granted, that's fair because like they talking on some stuff they ain't got no business talking on, if I'm being 100% honest. But we have to understand who we are and we can't be running away from it. Yeah, it's not the prettiest thing all the time, but it's still us. Yes, it's us. And that's just what it is. Okay. But the other people that's not a part of our culture need to hush. And when someone asks about our culture and what it is, first of all, it's none of their business. That's how culture works. You know what I'm saying? I don't go to other cultures of people, Asian people or Latino people or whatever kind of people and demand to know what their culture is as if my thoughts on it will determine whether or not it's a real thing. First of all, to all of the African people, you feel me, who feel like that, the UK people, the West Indian people, wherever y'all from, Black people across the diaspora, why do you think that what you say has any weight on what we do? That's the first question, first of all. Second of all, why do you think you have any business wondering or speculating on what we do? Because we are our own culture. As a Black American, I was born in Los Angeles, California. I was raised on the West Coast. I've been living in California my whole life. As far as I'm concerned, Los Angeles is the motherland to me. That's where my people come from. You feel me? By way of Oklahoma and Texas. That's where they come from. That's the motherland for me personally. I'm not going to claim, because when I went over there, y'all didn't have that same type of energy for me. Y'all wasn't trying to claim me. When I went to Africa and when I was in Europe meeting, talking to the English Black folk, y'all asked me where I was from. And when I said, oh, I'm from Africa. Back then when I was naive, y'all was like, nah, yeah, where you really from though? Like, you from Detroit or Chicago or where you really from? Because the answer I gave, which is the answer that y'all be wanting us to give, wasn't valid. It wasn't good enough, right? A lot of times, people be expecting us to do dumb stuff. I'm from where I'm from. And that's just what it is. And I'm proud of where I'm from. I'm proud of the culture that we've built here. We've built a culture, we've cultivated it. And it is a beautiful culture that the whole world tries to take advantage of and tell us that we don't have none. Ain't that the craziest thing in the world? For everyone to still, Kai Sanat sitting up in his life talking about what is Black American culture while he playing rap music in the background. Really? And just so you guys know, someone said my motherland is a great dismal swamp. Hey, shout out to Virginia, you feel me? Just so you guys know, music, foods, and how we interact with each other is a good enough answer. Because when we say like our music, they're like, that's not culture. Why not? It constitutes its culture for everybody else. Everyone else gets to say their music is a part of their culture. The reason why we don't get to claim our music as part of our culture is because a lot of us are ashamed of some aspects of our music, which is dumb. And then a lot of us don't really understand that music is like the essence of how a people communicate. If we're being 100% honest, music is a language within itself. And we birthed the most popular genres in the world came from us. They don't want us to be able to claim it so they can continue to try to take credit for it. If we don't claim hip hop, then they do. If we're too pompous and arrogant, like, oh, rap music is so bad to claim, then they gonna try to claim it like they've been doing. The most popular genres in the world of music: hip hop, rap, R&B, soul, blues, rock, country, jazz came from us. But niggas want to say we don't have culture? That's crazy. All the slang, everything, and not just the music, the food. That is our cultural food. You feel me? Peach cobbler, sweet potato pie, greens, yams, macaroni and cheese, cornbread. That's our cultural food. And you guys may say, oh, well, that's that slave food. And see, the reason why we don't be taking, I'm saying that we don't be taking ownership and stuff, other people just come in and steal it right from under us because we too stupid to appreciate what we have and what we are. Oh, that's that slave master food. This is what our ancestors made from nothing. And the last time I checked, that is the essence of what culture is. When a group of people take the resources that they have and make something traditional out of it. Is that not what the essence of culture is? Is it not? Don't you take what you have? Asian people, they have rice. They start cooking with it. You'll hear them saying, well, those are just the crops that was available. This is what was given to us. That's a part of their culture. They took what they had and they made some traditional with it. Something fire, might I add, because I love me some Thai food. I love me some Japanese food too. I'd take a bento box, a dinner box any day of the week. But that's neither here nor there. That's neither here nor there. We have allowed other people to convince us that what we came up with our own blood, sweat, and tears, just because the circumstances of it wasn't the prettiest thing, doesn't mean that it's something bad. That's how most cultures develop anyway. Out of crazy circumstances, out of necessity, we create something and becomes sacred and traditional to us. So let's not let anybody try to convince us that we don't have culture. And let's not be so ill-informed and uneducated and ashamed that we don't accept our culture because we're struggling with anti-blackness. You feel me? Let me read what some of what the comments say. Um, Someone said, Belita Glow Soap and Candle says to say we don't have culture is diabolical for sure. AE said, what you're really talking about is alchemy, and I'm all for it, and I'm all here for it. Yeah, for sure. I added all. Oh, you did say that, and I'm all here for it. TRKR 49 NC, I guess that's southbound, says hip hop is the culture, rap is the music. Yeah, you feel me? However way we want to constitute it, it's still ours. And we can't be so like the so-called conscious community. We really had an opportunity in 2020 and we fumbled it gravely, like the crazy fumble. By telling everybody the stuff that we do is so bad and all that kind of stuff. And we try to distance ourselves away from who we are. And as a result, because we've created said distance, you know, the the combination of creating distance from who we are and not claiming it fully, coupled with inviting other people, has caused us to be in the predicament that we're in, where everyone thinks that they can speak on our culture and define our culture for us. If you are not a Black American and you don't have several generations of grandparents that came from here, be quiet. I don't want to hear your opinion, your perspective. It holds no weight. It's not valid. If you don't understand our culture, good. It's not for you to understand. It's not yours. Go deal with your culture over there. Go eat that fufu and jollof rice or whatever and deal with your stuff. I'm not about to ask y'all about that. I'm not going to ask you about like why y'all like fufu so much, because for the life of me, I can't get with it, but that's y'all stuff. That's y'all, and you have it. You got it. I know what I like, but that's y'all. You ain't got to speak on what we do because that ain't your thing. And we don't have to explain. I want to tell us the conscious community, black people, whatever you want to call yourself, you feel me? Don't explain stuff to people. When people be like, oh, what does that mean? Because Denzel Washington had an interview. He was like, it's about culture. He was talking about certain directors doing certain movies because they understand the culture better, right? And he was like, every black person in there in this room know what it is Saturday morning when that pressing comb hit the kitchen, right? And the smell and all that, what it smells like and all of that, right? And I like the video. I'm like, yeah, damn right. I know exactly what that is. And it was some people in the comments like, what does that mean? What is the smell? And I'm just like, don't nobody say nothing. But of course, there's always going to be a few black people saying, oh, Susan, oh, Miss Ann, you want to know? Well, I'll disclose exactly what that smell is or what that feels like or whether be quiet. They don't have to know. If they're confused about what our culture is, let them stay confused. It's not for you. You know what I'm saying? It ain't for them to know. We don't have to explain. What's understood don't have to be said. We know what it is, you know? And that's what that boils down to. We have our shows, our movies that most black people collectively have seen, and we can give ourselves inside jokes. I heard somebody say because we don't have a language, right? We don't have our own language. We don't have culture. Nigga, we got a language. Our language so cold that it's the same English language that we were taught, but we've created a language within a language. We know how to talk English our way to our people that others don't understand. Now, if that ain't something special, then I don't know what is. We don't even have to use words. I don't even have to say nothing to a brother when I see him on the street. It was a dude in my apartment complex, and the police was outside. And I'm thinking, like, what's going on? And it was with this neighbor that I couldn't stand. I had a neighbor that lived above me that was a straight up Karen. I couldn't stand her. And she was always getting into it with everybody, especially the black people in our apartment complex. Ooh, I was so happy when she got put out. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I was just reminiscing about the time that I saw her in the garage struggling. She needed to jump, and I had just got a brand new battery in my car. And she looked at me, and I looked at her, our eyes locked, and I just went on about my business. It's like, if you're trying to get out this parking garage tonight, it won't be with my help. I know we used to be in the bigger person. That's also a part of our culture, but that's something that you know, I'm proud to say that I don't be helping people. I don't be like, I'm going to be the bigger person. I looked at her, I'm like, yeah, you're going to keep trying and struggling and hope you late to everywhere you need to go. You feel me? But anyway, this lady, she was harassing this brother, right? And so I get out of my car and I see him. I don't say a word to him. I just look at him and I give him one of these, like, you good? You feel me? And he looked at me and he just nodded, like, yeah, like I'm fine. Okay. I'm just like, do you need me to stay out here? Like, I got my phone, like I can start recording. What's going on? We don't even have to say words. you know? Now that's a language. And just because y'all don't understand, they be like, oh, well, that's so silly. Black Americans, they're dumb. They don't understand. Well, you don't understand. You don't understand the inside joke. We over here laughing and y'all over there confused. That's why you should stay out of black folk business, you know? So yeah, we have language, we have music, we have food, we have values and principles. You know what I'm saying? Our values and principles that we very family oriented. We don't be doing crazy stuff. You know what I'm saying? I saw a post on Threads that said, even the most distraught and depressed hood nigga never shot up a school. We got some kind of morals that a lot of other people don't have, if we be 100% honest. We got a set of morals. It's just a certain stuff we not gonna do. Our crimes a lot of the time make sense because we have a moral compass up in here that's instilled in us from generation to generation. We ain't gonna be blowing up people and blowing up stuff and shooting up schools and arenas and churches and all that. We don't be doing that kind of stuff because that's not part of our culture. That's a part of their culture, but that's not a part of our culture. We don't get down like that. You know what I'm saying? There's so many aspects of our culture. And if you just think about it and not look through the lens of white supremacy at our own people, you'll realize just how beautiful this thing called culture is and how much of it we have. Let me read some of these comments. I'm gonna get off of here. I just want to come on here and talk for a little bit because the video upset me, and the fact that a Black American man sent it to me and agreed with it, that infuriated me even more. Because, like, what type of time are you on? And not to shade the brother. You feel me? Like, I hope we can still kind of be cool, perhaps. But it's like, brother, you bootleg sinners. Like, are you really rocking with us or not? You ain't even go watch it in the theaters. Craziness. Now that's some nigga stuff if I ever heard. You feel me? You ain't got no room to be looking down on nobody doing stuff like that. Not supporting the vibe with your dollars. What, $18 movie ticket? $20 movie ticket? Come on. Anyway, let me read some of the comments, okay? Oh, I see y'all got a lot of laughing emojis. Yeah, I can get a little animated. I try to keep it toned down sometimes, you feel me? Because I'm trying to be a lady and poised and elegant, but I'm from the West Coast. It is what it is. Someone said, that's what I'm saying. Eminem have rapped about stuff that even Black rappers would never rap about, but I don't hear that same energy for him. We don't do that. We ain't gonna sit up talking about I want to kill my mom and all this. Like, that's not part of our culture. Black men might have some of the most raggedy mamas, if I'm being 100% honest. I'm not saying all they mamas raggedy. So, ladies, please don't get mad at me. I'm just saying some of these brothers could have potentially a raggedy mama, but they still gonna be like, yeah, I bought my mama a house when I got on. Like, respecting our mothers is part of the culture. That's part of it. Even if the mama raggedy. That's moms though. That's part of the culture. There's so many aspects of our culture that if we really just paid attention and stopped looking at ourselves through white supremacist eyes, the same way some of them other folks look at us. Now, I'm not saying all people of the diaspora look at us like that. You feel me? And a lot of times it's projection. You feel me? It's projection because I know people from the, Caribbean people from Africa, people from the UK that have said out their own mouth that their parents told them to stay away from us, stay away from Black Americans, right? Don't go near them. They're trouble. They're ghetto, blah, 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 blah. And so, because they were told that, they think that we were operating the same way. Ain't nobody never said nothing like that to us. Never have we ever, as Black Americans, been told to stay away from other types of Black people or that they're not, they're different than us. We've never been told that. So they be trying to act like we just both have to understand each other and stop the hate. We always been on some trying to understand y'all vibes. Folks get mad because when we was in elementary school, you might have got called an African booty scratcher, but everybody got called an African booty scratcher. Everybody got called everything. Again, part of Black American culture. We play the dozens. We make jokes. People said I look like olive oil because I was so skinny. My own brother told me I look like a black shoelace blowing in the wind. But you don't see me having a disdain for Black men now as an adult. You don't see me like, oh, someone said this about me and oh, I'm so hurt now. Like, people called me sticks, stilts, all the skinny nicknames you could think of. You so skinny you could hula hoop through a Cheerio. I've heard them all. That's what we do. We joke with each other. So if you're gonna hold a grudge against us for 40 years because somebody called you an African booty scratcher when you were 6, you gotta grow up. You got to grow up. You have to. And stop projecting, because our people never told us that. Most Black people in America, before all of this nonsense started, referred to Africa as the motherland. It was like, oh yeah, man, we gotta go respect to the motherland. Before this woke stuff happened, I was frequenting open mics and stuff in the early 2010s, late 2000s, right? Showing my age a little bit. But I was going to open mics and going to drum circles and stuff before it became a popular thing. I was doing it. And all them people was on a back to Africa movement. Like, oh, we got to go back to the motherland. And even back then, I was like, y'all, I can't go back to a place I never been. I'm from the West Coast. And they got mad at me as a result. They're like, oh, she not with it. She not with the cause. Like, I don't know exactly where I'm going. Africa's huge, you know? But that was the wave back then. Everybody who was on some back to Africa was wearing the dashikis, the kente cloth, all that kind of stuff. That's the way that we viewed stuff back then. We didn't have that same type of disdain for y'all as y'all have us. So a lot of this be projection. I was in JFK airport. I had a layover, right? I was flying back home. and I had a layover in JFK. Still had that long 5 hour, 6 hour flight back to Los Angeles, right? While before I got on the plane, I met a Nigerian man who's from the UK. He lived in London. He was waiting in line and he told me that I had beautiful hair, right? And I was like, "Thank you." And I didn't think nothing of it. Then he was like, "Oh, what do you must be mixed." And I was like, "Nah, I'm not. I'm Black American. You feel me? I'm not mixed. This I'm just me." He's like, "Oh, you got to have something in you." And I was getting irritated like, "Bruh." But then I realized like it's a cultural difference. He don't mean no harm. He not trying to be ignorant, but that's just, he thinks he's giving me a good compliment to where I would be happy about that. So I get on the plane, I go through the flight, no, this is before. What was this? Yeah, I think this is I was coming back and we were landing in JFK. Once we landed in JFK, he saw me again, as I was getting off the plane and we exchanged pleasantries. And I was like, yeah, let me not be mean to this man because he don't mean no harm. But he told me, like, oh, I have an extra pass in the airport lounge if you want to come with me. Now, I went because I was hungry. You feel me? And I don't want to go paying for expensive airport food if I can go in the lounge and get some food for free. And so I went with him and he told me, like, you don't have to sit with me if you don't want. But I figured it was a nice thing to do. We could sit and have a conversation and I'll eat some food with you. And so we sitting and we talking, right? And this disdain for Black Americans is coming out. And I get this all the time, you guys. When I go overseas, they're always like, "Oh, you're American. You're too beautiful. You're too intelligent. You're too this. You're too that. You mean you don't have any kids?" This one man told me that you don't have any baby daddies. You can't be from, but you can't be Black American. You can't be American. What? There's already this idea that we are unintelligent, that we are all ghetto, that we're not well spoken. He asked me, "What college did you surely you had to go you had to have gone to college. You're so educated. People like us, we're so educated." I'm like, "I didn't go to college. I didn't." You feel me? I'm self-taught. But that was the overall vibe. And I continued the conversation because I really wanted to see where his mind was at. I was like, "Damn, they really think about us like this." I'm not saying all, but it was just very interesting to see it in real time. And he thought that his compliments about how different I was going to make me feel good about myself, as if it wasn't going to make me feel some type of way about the fact that y'all just, I'm not an anomaly. I know it may seem like it, but there's a lot of women and men that are intelligent and well spoken. And we come from this country. And I'm talking about America. We are Americans. We're not all unintelligent or whatever people might want to say about us. But that's other people looking at us through the eyes of white supremacy. And that's not good. You feel me? Becoming the same colonizers, becoming the same type of people. And we can't do it to ourselves. And now I'm talking about us, Black Americans that are in the so-called conscious or woke community. I hate that word because it adds a differentiation. It adds a class within a group of people. Those of us who are conscious and those who are not. You know, those of us who have woken up and those who are still sleeping. Why don't we have a conversation with some of our folk before we just can, decide that they need to be thrown away and then be upset when people of other countries and races do the same thing that we be doing to each other? I'm just, just one, I just need to say that. But anyway, let me look at some of these comments. I see a super chat. Thank you for that because that really helps my life. I don't know if you guys know that, but you know, stuff is tight out here in these streets. You know what I'm saying? So these super chats and cash apps and all that kind of stuff is nice. Let me actually put my little cash app in here as well in case y'all want to show some love that way. You definitely can. Ain't no pressure though. No pressure. It's just gonna go up in there. Let me not say that. I don't like when people say up in there, like the two prepositions back to back. I was joking, but I don't normally say that because I don't like two prepositions back to back. Up in there. The up ain't necessary. Put it in there. Anyway, yeah, there you go. There's the cash app. Where can I could pin that later. Okay, Prinister Rogers, thank you so much for the super chat. He said American culture is the most emulated in the world for sure. It's let me see. Someone said Eminem is hip hop. We don't blast his music in my hood. Yeah, I've never met a single Black person that really listen to Eminem. Now, this ain't to take away from him because he's for sure talented. He got a pen on him like none other. He's, he do his thing. But it's just not my cup of tea. And that's fine. Someone said no olive oil. Yeah, I was a little skinny something, man. 100 pounds soaking wet. You feel me? 18 years old, just as twig as I want to be, you know. Reign Supreme 79 said everybody that was dark called got called African booty scratcher. Exactly. You ain't had to be African to be an African booty scratcher. You know what I'm saying? A brother told me when I was in high school that I was cute for a dark skinned girl. You think I'm gonna be mad at all black men for the rest of my life over that statement? Come on now, please. Let's not do that. Let's not. Um, let me go back to what it say. Trues, no trues, no say, how much do you weigh? Well, I didn't gain weight now. Hell, at the beginning of the year, I was heavier than I wanted to be. I was 140 pounds. And I said, okay, I got to do something about this because, like, the widest part of my body is my midsection, and that's not the vibe. My back starting to get wide. I had a roll or two back here, and I know it don't look like it. It didn't look like it then, but man, my booty was big though. That was the only upside of that. You feel me? I'm like, ooh, my booty bigger than it's ever been. You feel me? Like the southern side of me popping out. The booty is like, But I lost weight because I didn't like being that big. So right now I'm about 125 pounds. You know what I'm saying? 125 pounds, 5'5". That's my little dimensions. Um, Someone say, yeah, you just took me back with the African booty scratcher. Yeah, man, we was kids, bro. We was 6, 7, 8 years old joking. Wasn't nobody meaning no harm by it. You feel me? Same way people didn't mean no harm when they told me I had knobby knees. My knees look like doorknobs. I'm telling you, this is what I heard all my life growing up. You feel me? We just laughed about it. Ha ha he he. You feel me? It wasn't nothing to make me hate a whole group of people for. Like what? Someone says you must have been on Leimert Park. I for sure was. Yeah, I was at Leimert Park drum circles. I was doing all sorts of stuff. They had little festivals at every last Sunday of the month with the little pop-ups and stuff. I was up in there. But anyway, let me see. Nothing wrong. Oh, I scrolled a little too far. Where is this? Oh, okay. Where is it? They called it bullying when they're the butt of the jokes. Yeah, I mean, some stuff is bullying though, but like just a little joke every now and then, that ain't bullying. That's just some regular kid stuff. Somebody said nothing wrong with black folks. We just need to love each other. It will heal our entire family as a whole. For sure. Yes. I fully agree with that. I wish I could like this comment. But yes, I agree. How I get this out of here? Stop. Okay, there we go. Let me see. Say word. Olive oil. Really, I remember I was into X Clan and Poor Righteous Teacher. Yeah, man. You feel me? Shout out and rest in peace to Patrice O'Neal for calling out Africans hating us. LOL. He said, what am I supposed to do in African besides wear sweatpants and tuxedo shoes? Yeah, Patrice O'Neal's funny, man. Somebody say everybody who laughed at thin girls as a child or chasing some of those super fine small women. Hey, you feel me? Look, I might have been nothing but skin and bones back then. I'm still pretty slim now, but like, aging gracefully, if I do say so myself. You know, um, cracker, Dilly Dunny said, I don't even understand what is well spoken, basically talking how white people expect us to talk. No, being well spoken isn't talking how white people expect us to talk. Being well spoken is just having an immense vocabulary and understanding, having a good grasp of the English language. Now, that is something that I do want us to understand because just because like, speaking so-called proper isn't speaking white. You feel me? You like I slide in a you feel me all the time when I'm talking and you know what I'm saying and all that, but I'm still well spoken because I have a very good grasp of the English language and I know the rules of like grammar and vocabulary and like my writing skills are superb. So it's not like you got to expect how white people. It's the same way with other languages. Like right now I'm learning to speak French, right? And I have a conversation with my French instructor every week because I want to become fluent. But learning more words and having an extensive vocabulary helps you to be able to communicate yourself more effectively to other people, and that's all that is. So now you can try to put on a nice voice or whatever people would say, or the Valley Girl voice. Like, I don't, but I hate that voice. I do characters all the time. I have Miss Gertie, which is my old Southern voice. You know what I'm saying? Y'all on the live trying to leave your comments, but you're still wet behind the ears. That's Miss Gertie. And then I have Melissa. She talks like this. And, like everything's a joke to her. Like, and she asks everything with a question and all that kind of stuff, right? But I'll be joking. Like, I do that kind of stuff because I'm a little strange. But, yeah, talk how you want to talk, but have a good grasp of whatever language you're speaking. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay. So yeah, let me read the rest of these saying. Um, Someone says, didn't even realize they were insulting you to your face. Crazy. Yeah, it's crazy how that kind of stuff go. Oh, let me pin this comment. Pin message. There we go. I'm from Detroit and we don't play and we respect the skill set though. Yeah, yeah, that's pretty much all black people, you know. Let me see what the rest of it say. I'm in Black American culture. Someone said, "Oh no, not the knobby knees." Yeah, man, my kneecaps. When you skinny and you don't have a lot of fat on your bones, you feel me? Like your knees be kind of protruding. I was like, ooh, for a while, I was like, let me just stay away from shorts until I can gain a little bit of my weight. But yeah, man, it is what it is. Someone said, when will that deep song coming out? That's my joint. It's out already. Like, how y'all be not knowing? I've been posting about it every day for the past 2 weeks. The song is out. You know what I'm saying? Go listen to it. You feel me? Deep by Erica LeShai. You know what I'm saying? Deep in my feelings, deep in my feelings. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. That's all I want to say. I love you guys. I'll pop back in next time. I appreciate everybody being on the live. I just wanted to get this off my chest real quick. I love everybody, all black people across the diaspora. I ain't got no problem with y'all. Just stay out of our business. That's all. The same way we stay out of yours. We don't come telling y'all how to make fufu and make it better and jollof rice and whatever other type of food that you got or culture, whatever it is y'all be doing. We let y'all do y'all and like let us do us. Okay. That's all I have to say. I love you guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekends. Bye.